And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Sports. I'm Sergeant Rock. There's Michael Cox.
Hey.
Joe Stovall should be here shortly. Here's what we're going to be talking about this afternoon. The Illini football team, they're back in action tomorrow at Memorial Stadium. They'll be playing Penn State. Also, the men's basketball team, they play tonight at the State Farm Center. They'll be playing Austin Peay. Adrian Peterson said that he'll never use a switch again. He's suspended for the rest of this season. We're going to discuss that. Also, Charlotte Hornets' Jeff Taylor, he's suspended for 24 games for domestic violence charges. The labor union says, hey, that's not fair. There's no precedence been set for how many games somebody should get suspended for slapping their significant other around. We'll talk about that. Also, that Stanton dude with the Miami Marlins, he signed a lucrative $325 million 13-year deal, making him the highest paid baseball player ever. We got all that and more coming up on this edition of Talking Sports. You stay tuned. Gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble.
Welcome back.
I bet you won't be late for that, would you?
Thanksgiving time. I told Mike I had to run over a couple kids in school zone just to get here.
Oh, okay.
It's ridiculous. I mean, here's what I don't understand. Just cause the sign says stop, don't the kids see my truck coming?
It's a big truck, too.
Right. It's white.
Hard to miss.
It's hard to miss.
So what they do, step out in front of you?
Of course.
Oh.
So when we go to the next break, I got a couple kids I got to scrape off my grill.
Yeah.
You know. Think I can take it to the car wash and get that done?
Yeah, you can do that.
Hope you got a good insurance agent.
Nah, I don't believe in that stuff. This is a ripoff.
No.
It's a scam.
You ought to know.
Oh, hey, 27 years worth. Fighting Illini football, Fighting Illini basketball.
Yeah, basketball tonight, they play Austin Peay. Yeah, if I'm not correct.
With the best chant in college sports.
Oh, do they?
Let's go, P.
Very good.
Hey, worked on that all week, boy.
Did you?
In the bathroom.
Very, very good. Very good.
Football team takes on Penn State.
That's not going to be very good.
I don't know. Neither one of them's that good. Well, one's obviously not really good.
Somebody's got to
The
win.
others-
Somebody's got to win, though, Mike.
No,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily, sir. Sometimes they just say, hey, let's just get off the field.
Blame it on the weather. You know, it's going to be rainy tomorrow, 50 degrees.
Yeah, wintry mix, I guess we're supposed to get.
Yeah, better than Buffalo.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
What's happening in Buffalo?
They're under.
I don't get 24 hours, 7-day-a-week news.
Let's put it this way. They moved the football game this weekend to Ford Field in Detroit.
Yeah. Indoors. They tired of being outdoors. They said they might not be able to get a full team because half the team can't make it to the airport.
So they'll just play 7-on-7,
There you go.
punt, pass, and kick. But Fighting Illini sports, Fighting Illini take on the Nittany Lions. And you know, 20 years ago, if you remember distinctly,
Let's see, that would have been 1994.
there you go. Boy, gold star for Mike for the
Took me a minute.
mathematic equation.
Well, I was 30, I was 20-something years old. But go ahead.
Okay. Anywho, 1994, November. Should remember it like yesterday. When Johnny Johnson led the Fighting Illini to a 21-0 halftime lead.
Didn't they get beat 28-21?
Excuse me, 35-31.
That's right.
Kerry Collins, Keyjana Carter, and the Nittany Lions marched down the field, down 31-28, with about 3 minutes left in the game. Scored. Illinois had one shot. Johnson led Illinois down to about the 20. Last desperation play was intercepted in the end zone.
Bummer.
And the Nittany Lions went on to the Rose Bowl, beat Oregon that year, undefeated season, vying for a part of the national championship. Didn't get it. But
So what are you saying? Tomorrow's game gonna be much of the same?
No, I just referencing history.
Trivia.
Just
Oh,
trivia
okay.
question, that's all.
Who did win the national championship that year?
That was the year,
Nebraska.
was it Nebraska? Because Florida State had won it in 93 with Charlie Ward. Oh, good. We got somebody out there listening. They'll call in and tell us. Maybe Alabama, somebody stole that thing.
1994.
And guess who the defensive coordinator was for Penn State at that time?
Joe Stovall.
Oh, no way.
Beckman.
No, not even close. Jerry Sandusky.
Oh yeah, okay.
Isn't it weird how 20 years later, how all this other stuff comes to light? Joe Pa's passed on.
Mm-hmm.
Sandusky is
Tell him Bubba
wishing he passed on. Yeah. But now fast forwarding into tomorrow's game, 11 o'clock, Memorial Stadium, Senior Day.
Thank God. Yay.
Prominent senior on the team, Riley O'Toole. I think we've bared witness to the up and down career of O'Toole.
Hump day
You think he'll get drafted next?
in the women's Powerpuff League.
I was just throwing it out. I was just throwing it out there.
Yeah, you threw it out. You better have a Glad trash bag to catch that. Now, O'Toole has played sparingly since his freshman year. Now, his freshman year, he played in several games. But since the emergence of Nathan Shieldhouse, he primarily became a backup. And then this year, he was brought in to spell Wes Lunt after Lunt had the fractured leg after, what was that, the fourth, fifth game of the season. And so, he'll be probably getting the majority of the applause for Senior Day. In terms of the game itself, now, like Mike said, you got two teams that really are not that good.
What is Penn State's record?
Let him grab his thesaurus, his Encyclopedia Britannica.
Never leaves home with that.
Right. I think about it, 4-6 also.
Should be great if you could tell.
Oh,
Yeah, that sounds good.
4-6.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Illinois is
4-6.
4-6. They're 2 games away from a bowl game.
So, last week we said simple mathematics, 3 games, win 2. Then Iowa showed up. Last week's game, I think what concerns me going into tomorrow and even Northwestern, Illinois went to half down 9-7. But for some reason, it seemed like they were down like 29-7. Even though they made some stellar plays on 4th down to stop Iowa from scoring, Iowa just seemed like, they were just one of those teams that it was like a scrimmage, like a controlled scrimmage, like as opposed to we need points. All right, we're going to put this package in on 4th down and go for it. Now, if we don't get it, not a big deal, because we know you guys aren't going to do anything with the
It
ball.
looked like to me they was playing just enough not to lose.
Yeah. And then, it was like watching one of them old fights where the champ is just carrying the challenger for about 6 rounds so that the crowd can get their money's worth. And then the second half of the fight, the champ's like, okay, now I'm just going to beat you down. And they just slowly pummeled Illinois in the second half. And
Well, you must admit, Illinois has never really been a second half team.
No, but I think the most disappointing part about last week was the fact that Wes Lunt came back. And so, you had that excitement of our leader is back.
We're going to be able to score some points, move the ball.
and
That never happened.
look bad. No timing at all.
I just wonder what happened to Malik Turner,
Good question.
because he's kind of disappeared out of the package. And on the other hand, Mikey Dudek, of course, has
Really
blossomed.
emerged. Mm-hmm.
That's a freak athlete there. I don't know if you saw the Journey thing, but
Yes.
good, like 16 years old, running 22 mile an hour.
Yeah, he's truly built himself into the player he is. The sad part, I always say that the worst thing to be is the best player on a bad team. Because it's hard to gauge the talent of that individual. You know, if you had more talented players, would he still be at that level, or would he be below? What, you know, where is it? And so, in terms of really recognizing his talent, it's really tough.
And again, like I said, my original question was on Malik Turner, because everything you heard coming out of Springfield in his junior year, I realized he was hurt his senior year of high school, I think, the other way around. But I think it just really got to him when the kid took the ball from him early in the year.
Yeah, because early in the year you saw flashes of brilliance from him that he looked like he was really going to be that kind of guy. And as you said, when they played in the non-conference game, and what was it, like a 95-yard
Something like that, yeah.
interception or fumble,
90 plus.
if whatever you want to call it, where basically the defender just took the ball out of his hands. As Mike indicated, you know, playing time, receptions, everything, and just his name being mentioned has kind of waned a little bit.
Well, you know, that happens when you let someone down.
You know, one of the things, the keys that we've talked about all year, and it's like beating a dead horse, but we talk about running attack and stopping the run. The main key tomorrow is, does Bill Belton play for Penn State?
Now, who is he?
He's the star running back for the Nittany Lions. Bill Belton plays, and Hackenberg can turn around and just stick it in his belly about 25 times. The Nittany Lions will be going back home.
Happy campers.
Right.
Well, you know, Illinois had their problems with the run.
At least they're not Nebraska.
Right. Well, oh,
That was
Melvin Gordon.
crazy.
The Nebraska Cornhuskers have allowed Melvin Gordon to get the #1 pick in the NFL draft. Well, he won't be #1 because he's a running back, but his draft stock just went through the roof.
His Heisman stock.
What did he run for? Almost 400-something yards?
408.
408 in 3 quarters.
He didn't play the second quarter, or the fourth quarter.
That's crazy.
They were losing 17-3. They won 52-17.
And up until last weekend, everybody thought Nebraska had a really good defense.
Right. The old black shirts and
Yeah.
Bo Pelini, and they were really, banging the drum for the
Randy
Cornhuskers.
Gregory.
They got maybe some pieces, but
Well, and who would think
400-something
too?
yards. That's ridiculous.
Who would think Amir Abdullah drops the ball 3 times or whatever it was, and they had 3 or 4 turnovers.
I was just going to say, and when you go those head-to-head matchups, when you're really trying to increase draft stock, when you put Melvin Gordon up against Amir Abdullah, and I know Illinois fans, when they saw Amir Abdullah earlier this year, was probably like, oh, he's first #1 pick.
Yeah.
No. Him against Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon clearly separated himself.
From everybody.
Everybody.
Every running back.
Yes. If he is not the first back taken in the 2015 NFL draft by the Minnesota Vikings, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Did that subliminal message just kind of leak out my mouth?
Yeah, I think it did.
Is
Preemptive strike.
that what that was? Oh, okay. Because we're going to talk about that a little later.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah. But, yeah, he looked
Yeah.
fabulous.
Well, and you factor Gurley went down with an injury. I think an ACL or something, I
He's
believe.
got an ACL, so he's gone.
Didn't another running back score a runner for over 300-something yards last Saturday as well?
Wasn't it the kid from Indiana? I
Uh,
know he had close to that. He had 250 plus at least. And I saw, I think from Mike Hall, a tweet that said, isn't it sad when you go for 290, whatever he did, Tevin Campbell or whatever his name is, and you're not even the lead story?
Right. But once again, that's what I said earlier, that best player, bad team scenario, because your team stinks. Indiana's a bad, and I think the amazing part, you think about Trey Robeson, that used to be quarterback there.
Right.
He's leading Illinois State now to a top 10 FCS finish.
Well, how did the running back not get recruited by Illinois? He's from Chicago.
I think
It's a rhetorical question.
right.
They might have went and talked to him.
But you pick Indiana over your home school?
Yeah.
Your home state school? Yeah, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
you did, but, I mean, what was the...
I think that just goes to a larger
background
statement.
problem?
Yeah, because you hear about Illinois can't get these players because the quote-unquote high academic standards in Illinois. But I was listening to another radio station, and a caller called in and made an excellent point. You always hear Illinois complain about the high academic standards when it comes to football. You've never heard a basketball player say they couldn't come to Illinois because of high academic standards. What is the difference? What is it?
Lasagna?
Lasagna. You got it. But there are some splaining that needs to be done when it comes to this continued, gripe about the academic qualifications at the University of Illinois.
For football players.
For football, because you don't hear it on the basketball side. You've never heard it on the basketball side. You've never heard a guy that they were recruiting say he wanted to come here in the basketball program and go, we'd really like to have you, but you just don't cut the mustard.
Yeah, you got to bring that C up.
Right. And turn your homework in.
Go to class every once in a while.
Other interesting thing in reference to college football is this college football playoff thing that's starting to, take shape and form.
You think so?
Well, now look what's happening.
It looked like one big cluster to me.
Well, Mississippi State plays Alabama. Mississippi State loses to Alabama. All they do is trade spots. Mississippi State goes from 1 to 4. Alabama goes from 4 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State, traditionally with the old system, undefeated, they'd be your number 1 team, hands down. They're number 3.
Imagine
Oregon
that.
with a 1 loss is number 2.
But how much of FSU being number 3 a reflection on the issues they have down there? I know it's not supposed to be.
But I think you just nailed it, though. Which
Now,
shows...
what's the latest thing now? A point shaving thing or something?
Well,
they
you've
talk
got
about?
2 athletes who are involved in hit and run who...
Kind of like you today.
Well,
You're not-
I hit them and ran, but I kept them.
Oh, okay.
They're still on my grill.
Gotcha.
These guys just left the scene. And what was crazy is the argument they maintained is that they were afraid of the repercussions from a football standpoint, not a legal standpoint. That's why they ran.
Why is Jimbo Fisher still the coach there? That's what I
And that's why you hold your football players to a higher academic standard because of the decisions that they make.
That ain't got nothing to do with whether or not
Indiana University just had a teammate run over a teammate 2 weeks ago because they were drinking. And the suspension
because
was...
he got out of the car.
Right. Got out of the car, in front of the car,
Yeah.
as the other drunk teammate ran him over. 4 players were involved in drinking issues at Indiana. Okay. 4-game suspensions. The suspensions
For all 4.
Right.
Yeah.
They're already done, Sarge. So I don't want to hear this higher standard for football players because of the decisions they make. We're not talking about athletes. We're talking about young
I just
people
threw
in
it
college.
up there, Joe.
And I just knocked it out the park. Because every Friday night and every Saturday night and basically every night of the week, young people between the ages of 18 and 22
Are drinking.
are drinking and making horrible decisions.
They turning up, as they say.
Right. All you got to do is go on campus.
Drive down Green Street or there's one street south where Cam's is.
But that's part of the college life.
It is.
That's the point. But we look at athletes, especially collegiate athletes, and have some ridiculous expectation that you wouldn't have for any other person in that environment.
Exhibit A, Your Honor, Darius Paul.
Right. You know how many times I ran? Oh, wait a minute. Statute of limitations up on that.
2014.
Oh, okay. We're good.
So you should be all right.
But decision making is a part of growth when it comes to people.
This is true.
And, when we say, well, we need higher standards, well, yeah, you're representing the university. And then you get to classic. We pay you to do this. No, you don't. You pay yourself. You ever heard of that? You think about the concept of what a scholarship is?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to come here, so we're going to pay ourselves for you to come here. you're not writing a check to me. You're writing your check to yourself.
Well,
So you're probably not even doing that. You're just shifting from account A to account
Account B, right? It's just
on the computer.
changing the ledger.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But obviously we kind of digressed and getting outside of the topic that we're. But like I said, the college football playoff system. There's going to be some disappointment when the final 4 teams are picked, because as Mike said here, this Florida State is probably taking some heat for off the field transgression. Some teams are getting a little more push, mainly the 2 SEC teams, because of the assumption that the SEC is a better conference.
Right.
And then Oregon, I think because of the ability to score a lot of points, has made Oregon look like a contender.
Well, and you got the Michigan State win as well early in the year, where they just Oregon dominated Michigan State, and they haven't, with the exception of their loss, they really haven't let up.
But now you then look at Michigan State after the domination that Ohio State did to them in East Lansing. So do you say, man, maybe Michigan State's not as good as we thought? And then does it look better for Ohio State to beat them in November compared to losing in or Oregon beating them in September? Basically August, September. I mean, there's so many different factors that come into this.
What does it say about Ohio State? Just sitting there at what, number 5 or 6, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think a lot of people outside of the Southeast are waiting for the SEC championship game between Alabama and Mississippi State or whoever it's going to be, so that they can get that second loss. So that they go, see, we told you.
Right.
Come on in here, Ohio State.
Or,
especially if Ohio State wins.
But here's the other thing.
You think that's what's gonna happen?
I don't know.
I think the powers that be would love to have 2 SEC teams in the championship.
Oh.
Well, I know ESPN would love it. Now they have the SEC network and all that stuff. But then the question would be, do you put them on the same side of the bracket?
No, I think what they end up doing is
Opposite sides, so they
play each other, right?
Game.
But I really think in the heart of hearts, they would love for FSU to get in, because we just talked about how they played them up as the villain team this year, and the
villain quarterback anyway.
Right, the disdain for, as you just mentioned, Jameis Winston, and all these other things that have happened. If you could get Alabama against FSU in the championship game, the ratings would just go
crazy
through the roof. If you get something like that.
Because Tallahassee's not that. It's not down in Miami. It's right outside of Georgia.
Right.
Alabama.
So I see that. The other, you talk about these other conferences. A team like TCU, I can't see TCU being in the fact that they played in a game where they gave up 61 points.
Yeah, they won, but they gave it up.
Right. So I don't know about that.
Well, Baylor's not getting any love either.
No, because that's what you're getting, these factors of giving up too many points or not playing in a high-profile conference if you're, playing in the Big 12.
Well, I just think that if you go undefeated, you should have one of the 4 spots, regardless of the conference.
I agree. And I think
the only one left is FSU, Florida State, right?
Right now, FSU is the only one. I think the other issue I have, and I agree with this logic, if you don't win your conference, you shouldn't be in the conversation. Meaning that if Mississippi State and Alabama are on the same side of the SEC, and Alabama, one of them wins it, so they don't even, if Mississippi State doesn't even play in the SEC championship game, they shouldn't even be in consideration. And the reason why I say that, if you go back a few years, about 10 years ago, when Michigan and Ohio State were battling, in the last game of the year, Ohio State wins by, I think, 3 or something like that. Both of them were 1 and 2. And Urban Meyer went around and campaigned for Florida. And Florida ended up leapfrogging Michigan. It was 1, 2, 3. Because his argument was, hey, who wants to see those two play again? Which we ended up seeing that with Alabama and LSU just a couple of years later.
Right.
And then his other argument was, if you don't win your conference, you shouldn't be in consideration for the national championship. So if you use that logic, you've got to pull one of those SEC teams out. And I really think that the playoff system was set up You got 5 power conferences. You were expecting at least one team from each power conference.
Right.
So, we got a couple more weeks to go.
You say it's the 14th or something. The first official poll comes out.
No.
Or what is it? How's that work?
The polls have been coming out each Tuesday in terms of the actual
right.
playoff system. We will find out on the 14th who are the 4 teams.
Oh, okay.
Because on the 6th is when you have your conference championships.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Shall be interesting.
Oh, it will. Like I said, I just like when we used to hear the complaints about the BCS, you're going to get the same complaints or even more, because whenever just like with the NCAA tournament on the basketball side, if you got 4 teams, the 5th one is going to be pissed. If you got 8 teams, the 9th one, 16, and so on. So pretty soon, what they're going to have to do with FBS football is do the same thing like they do.
The D1 or D2 stuff,
Mhm.
1A or whatever it's
You're
called.
going to have 16 teams or 18 teams or something of that format
Regionally selected.
so they can play their way in.
Yeah.
That's it. Because it's just going to be impossible to do it with just 4 teams.
Shoot, that means college football could last until well through January.
It'll last as long as 1AA is, or whatever it's called. That's it.
All you have to do is you do 2 things. Number 1, you drop 1 regular season game. So you shorten the regular season by 1 game. The second thing you do is you start playing 2 weeks after your conference championship.
Instead of a month or whatever it is.
Right.
now.
So if your conference championship is that first week in December, so now you play, what was that, December 20th. You play your first game, December 27th,
Your
second game,
third game championship.
2
weeks later.
2 weeks later. So you're really just into the second week of January, like you currently are with the current system.
Mm-hmm.
You're just playing a couple more games.
Yeah,
But-
we'll see what happens. Shoot.
Definitely.
All right, quickly, the men's basketball team went yard on who they played last week?
Coppin State.
Coppin State. What they had, scored 114 points, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a offensive barrage. Can I say that?
Yeah.
You said it.
That's
said
what
it
it.
well, too.
That's what it was. It was an offensive barrage. I think everybody scored.
I think John Gross got in.
I started to suit up, but they didn't want to see me
They
throw
couldn't
my.
get all the way down from way up there in time.
Yodelay.
I'm just enrolled 200. Section 200.
Here's my question. Who would have thought you would ever hear someone say, like myself, the women have a better record than the men do? Apparently no one.
No one.
Okay.
So what's the women's record?
3-0.
Men are 2-0. Now if they win tonight.
Every
Of
three.
course, they'll be 3-0.
Right.
After the women's year last year and the year before, I
Now,
don't think anybody'd say they'd be 3-0 at any point.
Chopping State, they got a nice big paycheck for getting that beat down too. That's what I understand.
Mm-hmm. That's why you play those games when
Yeah.
you're a smaller school.
Make your budget for the year.
They left the State Farm Center and went straight to the bank.
Said cash this, please. No, I
Yeah.
think it was a currency exchange. Gave up 20% of that.
Pennies on the dollar.
You, first of all, from Illinois' standpoint, obviously you're getting an opportunity to see a variety of guys play. You know, Kendrick Nunn, 24 minutes, most minutes on the team in that game. They're trying to play him back into shape after the knee procedure earlier this year. Aaron Cosby, tough to have that last name right now. But Camille and the girls and the film but
He's not even saying that.
no, he's coming out lights out shooting. 16 points a game, filling it up from 3, and giving you a shooter that I don't think, when you look at it from an Illinois standpoint, you haven't seen since the likes of most recently a DJ Richardson, or if you go back to like a Corey Bradford. So you're seeing a guy like that come out and
Turner,
and
Richard King.
mm-hmm, giving you guys a option to score, at the drop of a hat. Ahmad Starks is a different type of point guard in the fact that he's small, quick, elusive, and he can shoot. Ray Rice is still Ray Rice. Perfect in terms of senior leadership. The issue that Illinois has, and it's to me, it corresponds to the football team when we talk, because we talk about the same thing every year.
Higher academic standards.
Defense.
Drug running? No. Nana Egwu is equivalent to the football team's running game. He currently has 2 rebounds. He's 6'15". And he has 2 rebounds.
Best player Gross has ever coached.
Okay.
Paraphrased.
Yeah.
According to Gross.
But he still only has 2
But
rebounds.
he only has 2 rebounds.
And Gross
In 2
says he'll
games.
be all right. He'll be okay.
Okay, but here's my thing. Georgia Southern, at the 16:09 mark, the horn was blowing. And he was going off the floor with 2 fouls.
First half, obviously.
Mm-hmm. I don't care what Ray Rice and Cosby and the rest of the junkyard gang does. If he cannot stay on the floor and he can't produce more than 2 rebounds.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous for your starting center.
Right. And you're playing against inferior competition. You're not running up against anybody who has the physical makeup you have as an individual. When you play these games, if the center on the other team is lucky to be 6'8", so be it. I'm watching tonight against Let's Go P.
With 2 kids who, according to Gross, can jump out of the gym.
Mm-hmm. What does he do tonight? Illinois may win by 30. That's really not even the issue. The issue is, what does he do in the post when it comes to rebounding?
Well, he needs to figure it out because the Kaminsky's of the world are coming.
And they're coming soon. And you cannot go into those games relying, as good as he's played already. LeBron Black is a freshman. You cannot shift that responsibility to him. You cannot shift that responsibility to Austin Colbert or Maverick Moore. He said it before the season started. I'm a senior, going out with a blaze, put it all on my shoulders. Well, hey, man.
Okay, step up.
There you go. We need a new pair of shoulders. So that's what I'm looking for out of tonight's game.
Game time's what, 7? Tip is 7, I do
7
believe it.
o'clock.
7 o'clock. At the State Farm Center. Get your tickets. Go to fightingillini.com, what they did.
JoeStovall.com.
Yeah, they got a bunch of tickets left. So we're going to take a break. It's about that time when we come back. Adrian Peterson said he'd never use a switch again.
Duh.
And he loved his kids.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
All 6 of them.
It took
I didn't
me
know
this
he
long
had
to say
6
that.
kids.
He didn't know he had 6 kids either until he made a statement.
Yeah, all 6 of them.
So I love all 5. I love all 6 of my kids.
And they baby mamas, too.
Right.
All right, we'll be back right after these.
Welcome back.
Oh, excellent break.
Lunch break on Talking Sports, WBCP 1580. Sarge is having his pre-Thanksgiving horse diver.
Man, these rib tips are good.
Fire, ain't it?
Yeah.
Fire.
You gonna give a little shout out to where you got it from? Or?
Give a shout out to folks on Springfield Avenue, Lil Polgus,
Little porgies.
large tip, mixed sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Took care of the fellas.
Yep. So y'all start talking about. I'll finish this tip. I'm hungry. I've been busy all day. I haven't even had time to prepare.
I noticed you were drinking that Kellogg's protein. Is that
Breakfast shake.
It's 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but he's got his dessert over there.
Oh.
Oh yeah, let me give him
Chocolate?
Let me give him some FaceTime.
Yeah, give it up there. Put it up there.
Bam!
Chocolate Oreos.
There you go.
Still unopened, mysteriously.
I'll get around to it.
So you
What, have some?
Before 4 o'clock?
Have some?
Yeah, I'll have some.
So you
Okay,
can't do
next
the
break. We're gonna do the
We'll
Oreo.
break it up.
you can't do the Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson Oreos, huh?
No. Well, you know they got
We got look what we got right here.
what Oreo. Man, he almost dropped the tip.
Woo! Yeah,
I still have some reflex.
right. But you just ignored Mike with the chocolate Oreo.
Yeah, I was gonna slide up in the middle, but
Right. See?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
That's
But they got strawberry, Oreos. They're supposed to be coming out with red velvet Oreos.
See, I can't do all the different variations of a cookie.
I could maybe do the strawberry ones.
A cookie is
There
meant
is.
to be
A cookie.
a cookie.
In its original shape, form, and
That's
taste.
it. You give me chocolate chip, you give me chocolate chip. I don't need chocolate chip with macadamia and
But chocolate chip peanut butter is pretty good.
but see, there you go. There you go. You just did it, Mike. You just ruined it. If you want peanut butter, take the chocolate chip, dip it in the peanut butter. Capiche?
Well, that's a lot of effort when Nabisco will do it for you.
No.
Okay.
They're not doing it for you. They're taking away my right as an American to have a good old-fashioned traditional cookie.
I got my Chips Ahoy, just plain
I need a
regular
flag like
Chips
waving
Ahoy.
in the back of me while I'm saying this.
You know, I got that's chocolate chip and raisin cookies. That's the reason why I have trust issues.
I don't think we want to know that story.
I definitely
It's not on there.
right because I just I got the visual.
Well, they both look alike.
There's a few other things too, but that's just we got to move on.
All right.
Who are we going to talk about? Giancarlo Stanton?
No, we was going to Adrian Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, he got suspended for the rest of the season by the commish for pleading for a lesser charge. What was for? Anyway, for whooping his kid with a switch.
That's basically what.
So he actually suspended for the whole season
Yeah.
for the most part.
Right.
Anyway, his hearing is supposed to start next Monday, I think it is.
Is that when the appeal will be heard?
Yeah. His appeal will be heard, and they're trying to get him back on the Vikings if they will have him by next Sunday's game.
I said last Friday that what should have happened is he should be reinstated immediately, but should have been fined. And by missing the rest of the season, it's the equivalent of losing a little over $4 million for Adrian Peterson
Mm-hmm.
because he was paid $7 million,
Up until last week.
right, because of the exemption list. So that's why I said that he's been out 10 games. That's the suspension. Fine him the rest of his paycheck, which is the $4 million,
Right.
and then you theoretically you get a 10-game suspension plus a $4 million fine.
Well, he might even win the appeal of the when he agreed to go on the list because of that. It's in front of an arbitrator now, right?
Right. Goodell, they've written a letter asking him to be absolved of being a part of the appeal. This is, as I've said before and try to stay as consistent as possible, this is just a overkill in terms of the response after the debacle, which was the Ray Rice incident.
Right.
Peterson is just paying the penalty because Goodell didn't do the proper thing with the Ray Rice situation.
Well, that's what he said. He said he don't want to be compared to Ray Rice.
Mm-hmm. And he
Yeah.
shouldn't be.
I don't blame him there.
Yeah, but like Joe said, he's catching a blunt of Goodell's mess up.
Mm-hmm. But he's also catching what we've also talked about many times on the show. This is the corporate response. This is the money response. This is the soccer mom who said, I've had enough of cutting the TV on and the heroes that my kids worship being on the police blotter. So, Pepsi, Nike, Coca-Cola, except Radisson, whoever, if you continue to support this league, I will pull my dollars from supporting you. And corporations are controversial neutrals, if that makes any sense. They don't want, you know, the old saying, any publicity is good publicity. That's, you know, that's the thing for folks in entertainment. Corporations never want negative publicity, and they never want their names associated with something negative. And you think about, we're going to go into the holiday season. Black Friday is a week away. The playoff push in the NFL is around the corner. The only thing that these corporations have their name labeled to, they want people talking about Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. You know, that's what the conversation they want. They want stars out front.
Positives.
Positive stars out front. Teams out front. They do not want their names fixated to anything remotely related to any type of negative press.
I mean, even with that, you know, even with the Ray Rice thing and Adrian Peterson, you know, Women's Child, female or women's viewership is up.
Right.
15%.
Exactly right.
In the NFL.
And because of that, you now have to understand who you're catering. You're catering to a different market. You know. And I think the other thing is, I think the NFL want to use the old turtle or ostrich method of handling these situations. You just stick your head in the sand.
It'll go away.
It'll go away, right. Because we were joking earlier about this 24/7 news cycle. There's going to be another controversy that'll happen. That'll make you forget about Adrian Peterson. It will happen, but by the time it happens, the league wants to be into 2015.
Well, and to a degree, it has happened with the kid in the NBA.
Taylor?
Jeff Taylor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you don't have the recent memory of Adam Silver just being idiotic about it and not doing a Roger Goodell.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that big news cycle issue.
Right. Yeah. What Peterson needs, he needs a DUI on somebody else. I mean, I hate to say it that way.
He does.
He needs Aaron Rodgers or, you know, or
Drew Brees,
one of those guys.
Talked about.
Exactly. He's got to have one of those so that the shift in the media goes straight to that.
Or he needs Richard Sherman to say something again.
He needs Richard Sherman to say something,
Pat
or he needs
whatever.
Richard Sherman to do something.
Yeah.
And he needs to do something to Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees.
Right quick.
Right. That's it. Because that's how it's like, it's a Cylon warrior with one eye just kind of traveling around, and once it finds it, it locks in on it, and then they just beat it to death.
Like a drone.
Yeah. And so that's the problem that Peterson has right now. If this would have happened last year with no Ray Rice, Peterson's not suspended, you know, we wouldn't go through this year-long dance that they went through with this thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you probably wouldn't have heard about him whooping his child.
Right. And
didn't one of them happen 2 or 3 years ago?
the incident that we're talking about happened in 2013. I think that's the issue, is that how old this when you look at it in relative terms, this is an old issue.
Well, and then there was another allegation I thought even earlier that just kind of disappeared.
Mm-hmm. I think this one, the reason why it grew legs and took off.
Ray Rice.
Mm-hmm.
And there was documented evidence in terms of him with the admission with the text message.
Right. Yeah.
And the doctor doing the exam immediately afterwards.
Calling the police.
And the pictures.
Yeah.
We've become such voyeurs now that anytime we see something, you know, whether it's raisins or chocolate chips, we go bonkers.
Yeah, is that?
The other thing is, Sarge, you made a comment about would the Vikings have him back? At this point in the season, what does Adrian Peterson do from a football standpoint?
It's not like they're going to win the division.
Right. You're not going to win a division. You're not going to be a playoff eligible team. You know, I mean, you're talking about a miracle to win the next 6, to go 10-6. You know, and also think about the focus and spotlight it brings to the locker room.
Right.
You know, you got a young if you look at the Vikings, that is probably, if not one of the youngest team in the NFL. And you've been functioning off of rookies and second-year players for the entire season. You got a rookie quarterback trying to find his way.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie running back. You've got second-year receivers. You got a couple of guys on the line, offense and defensive line, who are rookies or second-year guys. So you got a young nucleus on that football team. And to bring a veteran in with the baggage that he's been dealing with all year, now imagine the microphones being shoved into the rookie's face, and instead of saying, how do you feel after 12 games, et cetera, first question is,
Teddy, what do you think about Adrian?
Now, as Teddy, rookie, he's going to give the canned public relations statement. Hey, he's a teammate. That's water under the bridge, blah, 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 blah.
Just want to see how he performs.
And they're going to do exactly what you said. But Teddy, and pretty soon Teddy's going to be like, man,
I don't even know him. I haven't even met him yet.
Right. I've been around that dude a month. Training camp. That's it. Oh, so you're saying that you have no relationship with Adrian Peterson? And then
24-hour news cycle.
There you go.
Boom, boom.
Teddy Bridgewater says
he ain't gonna talk to
Adrian Peterson. Teddy Bridgewater says he doesn't know Adrian Peterson. So I think that's where.
But that could be the case if he doesn't go to Minnesota. If he does go to another team, that same scenario could play out in a different team's locker room.
Well, yeah, but if as an example he goes to Denver, you have Peyton Manning as a quarterback,
right?
And his ability to handle it and to make it a non-issue is much better than Teddy Bridgewater a year ago was down trying to get some Papa John's pizza at the University of Louisville.
Right. And I don't think he's going to go to another. I think he's going to stay in Minnesota for the rest of this season. He's been suspended. Even if he wins the appeal, does he come back and play?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to get rid of him this year. I think what you have to weigh out as a team, he'll be 30 years old this year.
And that's really old for a
running back, no matter.
Especially coming off the surgery.
Right. And the fact that he's, after the surgery 2 years ago, he's had the groin and a foot and, those little things that take you.
Soon it'll be a hamstring.
It just starts tweaking the great back down to the very good to got to let him go because we pay him too much.
Either that or we're going to take a switch to him.
Yeah. Like a 4-year-old.
What's the name? Blunt. Played for
Pittsburgh.
Used to anyway.
Yeah.
He's in New England.
Snowed in New England.
He's in New England now. Pittsburgh fired him after he walked off the field. Like, get y'all. Head to the sideline. What do you do? You point to
the bus.
You point to your the guy that he was already second string.
He was second string.
So,
he went to the locker room in the middle of the game, showered up, and left because he was upset with his playing time. While your teammate is out there running for over 200 yards
You wonder why you don't.
And you wonder why you're not playing?
Exactly.
Has he been talking to Richard?
LeGarrette Blount has been with four teams in his 5-year career. He just went back to New England.
Now, I remember him with New England.
Yeah. Now, I'm surprised that Belichick brought him back after an incident like this, but Belichick is playing the Father Flanagan role. And, you know, if he took Randy Moss and he's had some other guys that, you know, have questionable past, Rodney Harrison, just to name a couple. But to bring a player back who disrespected the game the way LeGarrette Blount did,
And his team.
I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised that they would do that.
Well, Belichick says he's going to have to earn his playing time with the Patriots.
Don't you have to do that with any team?
Yeah, so.
Well, but not.
But
It's Belichick telling him that. I think
Yeah.
there's more to that message than
Mhm.
he's going to have to earn his playing time.
But Mike Tomlin is a well-respected coach in the league too.
He's not Bill Belichick.
You know, no, I didn't say it was Bill Belichick. What I'm saying is that basic premise of you have to earn your playing time, that's a classic example. Le'Veon Bell was out there running for over 200 yards. You're going to stand here with your helmet. Oh, you don't like it? You walk off the field and go take a shower. You go to New England. Stephen Ridley, Shane Vereen, they're out there running all over the field. You're going to stand there with your helmet while these guys. So I guess my point is, in terms of the directive is the same whether you're in New England or Pittsburgh.
Because you know it didn't take Tomlin long to make that phone call and say, cut him now.
Oh, I don't even think Tomlin made that phone call. I guarantee you the GM, when they found out he walked up, he was cut before he dried his back. Before he could get his sure on, there was a little pimply-faced guy packing his stuff up out of his locker, coming about, hey, good to see you, LeGarrette. Take care, man. And just pushing that cart right out of the locker room. And he's like, what? Man, oh, you didn't know they cut you. Give me your playbook. Give me your iPad.
Yeah.
So now him going to New England, you know, obviously there's a silver lining in every story, I guess.
Yeah, something good gonna come out for him anyway.
He likes to snowmobile, apparently.
But you mentioned earlier Buffalo's game against who they played, the Jets, have been moved to Ford Field in Detroit Monday night.
Inside.
Inside, those games will be shown Monday night. Because you know they normally have Monday night football as well.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, they're going to show in both those markets. They're going to show their game that night. That's awful nice of them.
67 inches of snow.
You see the picture of the field?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But wait a minute, did you hear what they offered Buffalo fans?
$10 at a ticket. $10 an hour at a ticket.
Shovel.
That's a lot of snow.
They said that the amount of snow within the stadium itself is the equivalent to 220,000 metric tons of snow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
For anybody who didn't know.
220,000 metric tons of snow.
And they got one guy out there for $10 an hour and a ticket to the
And he
game.
had to bring his own snowblower.
Right.
With his own gas can.
And all you hear is
That's crazy.
I have fond memories of that part of New York.
I was amazed when they showed it, how the lake effect, how just if you were 20 miles south, or 15 miles north,
You wouldn't be affected by it.
there were areas where they only had like 1 inch of snow.
Yeah.
This one dense area, 67 inches of snow. The other thing is, and just to give you a little State Farm tidbit, we talked about how much snow there is in the stadium.
Mhm.
It was the equivalent right now of having 50,000 pounds on your roof. This much snow.
Y'all covered it?
Moving forward,
That would be a no, apparently.
I'll be honest with you, because this is something, 27 years of doing it, never heard anything like this. So I don't know what they would do.
Yeah, because the average house,
50. Imagine
the
50,000
average house
pounds.
couldn't stand that much weight.
No.
A wet snow.
Well, I've already seen pictures of front doors being blown open because the pressure from the snow, the drifts building up in front of people's houses, were actually pushing doors open, and people were shoveling snow out of the front of their house. You know. So
Snow rakes. They're a hot item, so to speak.
Open the door and put a couple of brews in the snow.
So, you know, Buffalo I think here's the other thing. You know, Buffalo has been kind of teetering on the edge of playoff contention. You know, and for something like this to happen and take you out of your home element and have to play a division foe on the road, you know, basically it's a neutral site now.
Supposed to be.
And so imagine how many people will actually be at that game.
Yeah, but the Jets suck anyway, so.
Yeah, they suck, but we just saw a team that sucked last night, the
Yeah.
Oakland Raiders. They just put a monkey wrench in the Kansas City Chiefs season.
That's true.
You see
You
them
know.
partying on the field. They were so.
Justin Tuck was about to hurt somebody.
Oh, the celebration on third down. I wish the ref would have thrown the flag for excessive, just to really throw a monkey wrench in there. But last thing on Buffalo, if they lose this game, do you go back and look at this and say the league should have just waited, allowed them to play maybe on a Tuesday at home?
What's their next week's schedule? They playing Saturday or Sunday or?
See, that's why I don't know
have a
their
Thursday game. I would hope not.
No, they play. Hold on. I don't even count it. Yeah, they play next Sunday though. They play Cleveland.
so.
The Bears got good Cutler last week.
Nah,
Not really.
he threw 2 picks. It was he got bad Viking.
Well, they've been bad.
Yeah, but he got bad Viking, specifically Josh Robinson. I've never seen a cornerback get picked on by a team the way it was like anytime Josh Robinson was covering any Bear, they were throwing his way. The other thing is, as I shared with Mike off the air, is the game clock fiasco.
What doing at the end of the game?
At the end of the game, where Minnesota had the ball,
Didn't know
and
what time was.
all of a sudden the clocks go out in the end zone. Nobody knows how much time is in the game. And Bridgewater, he's basically a Hail Mary and still had about 40 seconds left in the game. And he said it was really difficult trying to call the plays and get the signal out and know how much time was actually in the game.
Don't the referee keeps the time on the field?
Yeah, but that's a little different than you walking up and looking,
And you can see it.
and there's the play clock and the game, and the game clock. So you know how much time is counting down on the play clock, and if I know I've got 45 seconds and I'm across the 50, I may throw something in the middle of the field. I've got more options.
Yeah, I got 3 plays at least.
You know.
I don't have to go to the sideline.
Right. So, not to say that was the reason why the Bears won that game, but it just added, I think, a little extra veloce to the conversation.
It's amazing that they won that game, however you look at it.
And now, I think what's interesting this Sunday is the Bears have the lovely reunion as Tampa comes to town. And
The weather's going to be decent. It's not going to be frosty cold.
and Josh McCown and Jay Cutler get to do battle. So now you get to find out
Who the better quarterback?
who the better quarterback is head to head.
Cutler doesn't care, though. So,
Right. Oh, we just want to win.
yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yada yada yada.
What other significant games in the NFL this week? I know Dallas, they played the Giants Sunday night. Tony Romo came back. In London.
I think
They won a game.
the most significant game is going to be the Arizona Cardinals travel to Seattle.
Oh yeah.
Last year, Arizona was one of the only teams to beat Seattle at home.
In
on
Seattle.
Seattle's march to the Super Bowl. This is a big game for Seattle. They're 6-4, and Arizona's 9-1.
Mm-hmm.
And to get them at home, you know, Drew Stanton is really going to have to be an NFL quarterback. You know, they just beat Detroit, but it was a low-scoring affair. Was it 14-10 or 9 or
Something
some
like that.
low-scoring thing going on there? But
It's a great football game, by the way. I thought.
I did too.
I didn't see it, so I can't comment.
We'll tweet you later.
But now you go into this game of the significance is really, can you catch Arizona for the home field advantage? I think that's really what this is about.
Yeah.
Is that can you knock Arizona down a peg or two each week to bring them back to the pack in reference to home field? Because we've seen Seattle struggle this year on the road. Is it the old obligatory Super Bowl hangover that they're suffering from? Sorry to bore you.
No, you're not. Just I had the tips and
Oh, he's got
I'm
the
happy now.
he's got the itis.
Mm-hmm.
See, the itis has no racial boundaries. It gets everybody. But the
I'm waiting on the dessert.
chocolate. Excuse me, Senor Sam.
Sure, we're gonna bust them open. We're going to break in about another 5 minutes. We're gonna bust them open then.
But you know, Seattle, are they coming out of that malaise, which is the Super Bowl hangover, and are they getting themselves together? Or are they having enough issues with the Marshawn Lynch being fined at $50,000 for not talking to the press?
Was it $100,000? I thought.
But I think they knocked it down to
Oh, did they? Fine.
50.
Okay.
But still,
I saw it. I was like, whoa.
hey, you know, this is, you know, a lot of this NFLPA and Goodell and all these things. You know, Lynch has been listening to management, and for lack of a better term, he won't be back next year. You know, the Russell Wilson, is he black enough issue that happened earlier? You know, we talked earlier about Richard Sherman, and you lose Maben on the defensive line. All those things that, you know, when you have that Super Bowl season, you know, usually the team goes injury-free.
Yeah.
Usually no
Catch a
controversy.
break.
They
Yeah.
catch a break here or there.
Win the game they should have lost.
Mm-hmm. And now they're just, you know, kind of just bubbling over 500.
But you got to get to the most important issue. Is it beats or is it bows?
See? Well,
Bows.
it's bows now. You put beats on,
It's both.
it's going to cost you some.
A lot of people are saying RJ3 is through.
Oh, he's done in Washington. He might be done in the NFL.
I don't know if he'll be done in the NFL.
He might be.
But I agree that he's done in Washington because the only support he gets right now is from the owner, Daniel Snyder.
And mom and dad.
Yeah.
And his wife.
Because teammates, and now your coach basically tells you, you need to shut up. And I know what RG3 is going through. He's going through that. But I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I can go somewhere else and start.
And everybody's like, well, go.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
were good your rookie season.
You need help packing?
Last year, because of basically trying to exceed expectations with the comeback with the knee, you messed yourself up. You talked your way onto, you know, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm way ahead of schedule. No, you weren't.
Adrian Peterson, you're not.
That's it. And you're a quarterback. So you have, to me, higher value because you touch the ball on every snap.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not a pocket quarterback.
And you have a higher risk factor because you always got guys rolling around in your legs.
That's it. So now you come back this year, new coach, same problems. So pretty soon it's like, okay, it was Mike Shanahan and his son, Kyle. That's what the problem was in
Right.
Washington. Now they're gone. Gruden comes in, same problems. So you can't say it's the coach now. The common denominator is him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes a change of scenery is not bad
Right.
when you're having these type of problems. Now, to your point about being out the league, if he changed the scenery and he still plays the same, now it's time to get the baseball cap out and hold the clipboard and be that glorified,
Or take your Heisman and go to ESPN.
Yeah.
Sit behind a desk.
Well,
Alrighty. We're going to take our last break. And when we come back, that Stanton fella in Miami just became the highest paid baseball player ever. I don't even know how they're going to get enough money to pay this man, because you only get about 2,000 fans in that stadium. So where does money going to come from?
They're going to be selling seats, literally.
All right. We got that coming up right after the break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Last half. Talking Sports, WBCP 1580. The Thanksgiving edition. 3 turkeys and a lot of stuffing.
Yeah, we won't be here next Friday, unfortunately.
Sarge will be hitting the stores for Black Friday. Mike will be hitting that day-old dressing and cranberry sauce.
I'm gonna be doing the nice thing and taking a friend to the airport so they can travel.
Hey, did you see that UFC fighter, female fighter, get her ear torn off?
Yeah.
Man, that was crazy.
Really appreciate you bringing that up right after,
You ate red stuff.
Stuff right. I just had 2 ears. Ear sauce. Yeah, that was with a punch and
Yeah, her ear just blew up too.
man.
It was just dangling.
Baby, do you hear me?
What?
Can you hear me now?
Doc, she went over to the corner. Doctor looked at her and said,
Where's Tyson?
I need the bucket.
Is Tyson here? Where's Mike?
Yeah, that was crazy.
This time of year, though, Thanksgiving, you get a lot of preseason high school basketball. And this year is no exception. Sarge, you just mentioned the Urbana Tigers open up
The Quincy tournament.
Quincy Holiday Tournament for Thanksgiving. Champaign Central goes over to the Tournament of Champions in Washington, Illinois, which is right outside Peoria.
Rebuilt Washington.
1 year, just like Gifford,
Yeah.
after the tornadoes that struck there. Last year when I drove over for the tournament, if you've never seen a disaster zone, whether it be, I know you guys being in the military, seen your fair share. I've seen it a couple times working with State Farm. And last year what I was just amazed at, when people, on our side equate it to like a war zone. You're driving through and there's nothing wrong. And I actually equate it to like a sci-fi, like a monster movie, where you're driving and there's nothing wrong, and then you turn a corner and then an area is just wiped out.
Yeah.
Then you go about a quarter of a mile and everything's fine. Then another area is wiped out. And over in Washington, I saw this nice subdivision near a car dealership. And you're looking into the subdivision, and there were houses untouched. And right next door, there was a pile of debris and rubble. And then you went down a little further where the car dealership was, and there were cars stacked on top of cars because the force of the winds were able to just lift these cars up. And so I'm going to be really interested to see, as Mike said about Washington rebuilt a year later, driving through town, what those areas look like.
Tornadoes is real humbling once they go through your neighborhood.
Random carnage.
Yeah.
Because they can hit you and look at your neighbor and say, you good.
Yeah, you cool.
And then just keep hopping.
You've been living right.
That's it. So be interested in that. Centennial, I'm not sure where the Chargers are going.
I was just going to mention a football Centennial note.
Okay.
They're looking for a new coach.
Yeah. Coach McDonald announced his retirement the other day. 18. Yep. 18 years.
Winningest coach in Centennial football history.
I wonder if they'll honor him the way they honored Coach Embro.
Probably sometime during the basketball season. Yeah. Call him out in front of the student populace.
Mm-hmm. But kudos to Coach Mack. Team made the playoffs this year, 6A. Finished the regular season, or finished the season at 6-4. Think things probably would have been a little different if his quarterback didn't get injured in week 2. You know, I think they had high expectations of going a little farther in the playoffs. The team had about 20 seniors on it, but to go out, as Mike indicated, is the top winning coach in football history. It says a lot for what he's done over the past 18 years. So it'll be interesting to see, do they go from somebody within, or do they bring somebody from outside the community? A lot of turnover in sports. If you think about just using Champaign High School, Central and Centennial, in the past 3 years, you've had a turnover in terms of football and basketball coaches. In both schools, the only area is constant right now is Tim Lavin as a basketball coach. So interested to see how that plays out. But yeah, if you've got a kid or relative or family friend on one of the local high school teams, get out to check out the Thanksgiving tournaments this coming week.
All of them on the road, though.
Yep. Central will start on Wednesday. They'll play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Used to be Thanksgiving tournaments would start the day after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But now with the expansion of tournaments and, you know, AAU and things of that nature, you know, playing on a holiday is nothing new now.
I got to ask you, how did the sign-up go for first string? Did you get enough kids? Or?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. First string, we got an extension to December 10th, but you have to sign up at Douglas. Can't sign up online anymore or go to a different location. So from now until December 10th, you have to go down. The fee is $30, ages 5 through 12, down at Douglas Center. So spread the word that from now until December 10th, if you want your kid playing basketball on Saturdays over at Douglas Center, they can register over at Douglas Center. $30 registration fee through the Park District. So,
Can that fee be waived if you can't afford the $30?
that would be a question for the Park District. I don't know if there's scholarshiping or not. Yeah. I think one of the things, the misnomer is first string does not per se run the league like we did before, where everything went through us. You know, we'll still have kids, coaches and things of that nature, but it's under the umbrella of the Park District. So the fee goes to the Park District. They still do the background checks and all that other stuff. So we call it first string just because that's the name of the league, but it's still under the umbrella of the Park District. So get over to Douglas between now and December 9th and get your kid registered. It's only $30. Good time had by all, ages 5 through 12. So.
All right, in Major League, that Stanton fella from Miami Marlins, like I said, he signed a record $325 million deal, 13-year contract, and he concedes that he wasn't exactly sure that he should have signed.
Wasn't enough.
I mean, 13. How old is he now?
He's not that old. He's under 30. 27-ish, I think. 26, 28, something like that.
So he'd be darn near 40.
So maybe he's worried that he'll be bargain basement in his latter years.
Mm-hmm. Gerard, how you pronounce his last name?
Stanton?
No, Gerard Saldo. Anyway, we're gonna call him Salty. He's gonna make $7 million and Stanton's only gonna make $6.5 million. I think Stanton got the longer deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a lot of money.
What was your first indication? The
Oh.
$325 million?
All the comments.
Oh,
I'll just take one. Just give me a couple dollars.
two things from a baseball perspective. Because of the salary cap and the luxury tax, and you mentioned earlier, how do the Marlins generate revenue when they only get 2,000 people to come to their games?
That's a free giveaway night.
So how do you get other players that are at the quality or at the level of competitiveness that he's at? How do you get those guys to come in?
Well, and you just guaranteed yourself you're never going to be traded because nobody's going to pick that contract up.
Well, the Yankees will.
Well, yeah. but they'll wait till you're 10 before they even consider it.
Right. You know, the other thing I look at, we talked about this last week a little bit, you know, after taking the fastball to the face, you know, the question was, you know, will he come back and be the same player? And this is a heck of a gamble.
Yeah, it is.
Because I think, to me, it's not even the money, it's the longevity of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
13 years.
13 years.
You know, my question is, why couldn't it have been a 5-year deal?
Or 10 for them.
Right. But 13 years, you know, I haven't heard anything in terms of the logic as to behind signing for such a long-term deal.
Well, you know what he said? He wasn't certain he should have signed it. So obviously, you know, they know something.
Right. Well, he
There's
signed it.
There's some shady stuff going on.
Well, and who knows if he's been, you know, hitting A, against a pitching machine, or B, against any live pitching
Mm-hmm.
from when, you know, he got hurt, which was in, July, I think he got hit, something like that, until now. So.
Well, they obviously know better than we do because, as you just indicated, they're, you know, what he's doing on a day-to-day basis in terms of rehab and training. Now, Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, you know, he's owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. And
The Flyers, right?
Philadelphia Flyers, right.
Oh, so he got a little money.
Got a couple dollars. You don't have, you just don't be throwing around
$325 million.
Right. You know, I know you don't understand because everything you get is for free.
Yeah, I don't pay for
You
nothing.
don't pay for nothing.
But it said it's the most lucrative contract for an American athlete and the longest in baseball history.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the years of A-Rod in Texas and then, as I said, being traded.
Yeah, they came in with 200
50.
something million.
Well, even Albert's contract was only $270,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
And
Look at this talking.
only $270. Oh, the numbers are relative. You know, I make $3.50 a day.
I had some other news. You hear that young lady, the college lady, Lauren Hill?
Mm-hmm.
She gave her game jersey to the Cincinnati Bengals player whose daughter has cancer.
Oh, the kid out of isn't he out of Ohio State or Penn State or something like that? I thought.
Who?
I could be, the kid from Cincinnati. I could be wrong.
No, the Bengals player.
No, I'm saying he went to school at, I thought, Ohio State or Penn State or one of the states.
I don't know.
Just a completely useless point I was trying to bring up.
Here, have a cookie.
I was just ready to say, you guys need to check your glucose. Because this conversation, I was like a little kid watching two old people talk. Like, man, what the heck are they talking about?
He just went all left field on me.
No,
I just thought it was interesting. That was all.
Lauren Hill, she's a young lady with an operable brain tumor.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Devin Stills is the Cincinnati Bengal player. And his daughter, who has been fighting a courageous fight and just appeared at his first game since she was diagnosed. And now to give that, I mean, it really just shows the level of empathy that a lot of these folks are going through. And, you know, for this young lady, because they don't even know if she'll make it
Next week.
Tomorrow.
right. And for her to give her jersey up I mean, a lot of courage and just a tremendous statement on her character. So I just hope that maybe something, you know, as tragic as the story is right now, you know, hopefully there'll be some good that will come out of this with the amount of donations that are happening and the research that's happening. That, you know, hopefully this dreaded disease can be stricken from the books once and all.
Yeah, I think they raised something like over $360,000, something like that. So interesting. What else I got?
What else you got?
Cardinals took care of the right field problem.
Yeah, they went out and got Hayward from Atlanta. Should be a good addition. They got rid of Shelby Miller and somebody else.
I think Hayward will go to St. Louis and become another star in the legacy of Cardinal stars.